Alrighty, so here is, I'll talk about some more terminology. So for every attack, there is the frames that the attack goes for. There's 3 phases to each attack. There's startup, which is how long it takes from the move coming out to attacking. There's active frames, which is how many frames it attacks for. For example, here. This standing light kick is +2. As you can see, it says +2 right there, but it's active for several frames, which means that even if I attack like this, even if it doesn't hit immediately, it still might hit for another 1 or 2 or 3 frames. I forget the exact number for this move, but for example, when I land this attack, when an opponent is getting up from the ground, as you can see, I just did light punch, but it didn't hit him, because he's not up from the ground quite that soon. So if I do that attack after dashing up and then hitting light punch, you know, it's not going to hit him. Because as you can see when I dash up here, if I hit him with this move and then dash up, I'm +5. So I'm 5 frames that I can act before he has gotten up and is hittable again. So I am +5 here. And this is a 4-frame attack. This light kick comes out in 4 frames. So if I were to dash up and do this attack, 4 frames is still too early. It's 5 frames until he's up off the ground. But I'm doing a 4-frame attack, and as you see, there, when I hit him, it said +4. The frame advantage said +4. Even though the attack is normally, when you hit him, it's +2. This is because I'm swinging the move too early. So the move is out before he's even up yet and hittable again, but it's still attacking for another 2 frames after that. So he gets up into the attack that's already there. Which means that, you know, so long as the move hits him, it's going to be the same amount of time every time. So he's going to be in hit stun for the same amount of time no matter what. But if it's later on into the move, a few frames later on, that means that the move will recover faster relative to the person he's hitting. So if you're hitting an opponent with a later active frame of your attack, not the first active frame, but a later one, you can be at a greater frame advantage. So normally if I do light kick, it doesn't combo. But if I hit him in that scenario, it does, and I can get bigger combos off of it. So normally if I do this attack, this medium kick attack, it's +2. But if he back rises, I can do that, and it's hitting him way later into the move, and it's +5. So yeah, the first phase of an attack is startup, and then it's active frames, and then it's recovery frames. So moves like this have a much longer recovery. It takes longer for, you know, you to be active again. It's pretty straightforward. So how you would find frame data is generally just you'd sort of like SFE frame data or some shit, and Fat Online has, you know, some references. I usually go to right here, the official one for Capcom for this game. Every game is gonna have different sources for frame data, but yeah, you have like this forces you to log in using your fucking so your PS4 or Steam. So it's just you're basically your online handle in the game. So I just, you know, do that. Jeez. Oh, fucking Jesus. Okay, here's where I changed the character. Alright, it wouldn't let me into fucking my normal place. So this is Fat Online. I've never used this before, but yeah, this would have your frame data. So this tiny fucking thing that I couldn't see down here is the character select. Okay, Jesus. Fuck you. fucking design your website better. Alright, so then you'll go to, like, whichever your character is. Gives you a lot of accurate information. You know, the space, the distance, units of distance in the game. And then every single move. Startup, active, recovery. Frame advantage on hit, on block. And then damage, stun. Attack level. H is a high, which is just most attacks are highs. That just means a regular attack. L is a low. And M is, I guess, mid. Mid is like what this game refers to as an overhead. So just anything that is M is just an overhead. And yeah, then you have your cancels. I believe SU is super, SP would be special, and then V-trigger. So, you know, this tells you whether or not when you connect it, the move, can you cancel it. And some moves you can cancel on hits, but not on block. I don't know if it says that here, so let me go for an example. Lucia. If I go down to, where tap kick, okay, so tap kick, so tap kick does let you cancel into this attack in V-Trigger 2, but only on hit, not on block. So it doesn't seem to say that here. So you don't get 100% of all the data here, but it seems to be quite a bit of data. So this is where you would go to look up your fucking frame data for anything. Either something that you need to figure out how to deal with or anything like that. So here's more terminology. So when you get knocked down in this game, like this, where you're hitting the ground. Normally it looks like this, and then they get up after a little bit. But when you get knocked down, here, I'll have the opponent do it. So if I don't do anything, it does that, where I'm just on the ground. If I hit down as I'm hitting the ground, I get up right there quickly. If I hit back as I hit the ground, I roll backwards, which creates more space, but it also takes slightly longer. Both of these animations, or all of these, so if I'm here, or if I do that, or if I do that, all of those I am totally, they're not risky per se, you're totally invincible until you get up from the ground again. It's just different ways to get up that create different timings, which makes it harder for the opponent to chase you sometimes, or makes it harder for the opponent to precisely time when you're going to get up. So it's important to mix up between quick rising or back-teching. And sometimes it can be beneficial to not get up at all, just to choose to just stay on the ground for slightly longer, like this. You can also quick rise by hitting 2 punches, or back tech by hitting 2 kicks, rather than tapping down or tapping back. And you can, like, people like me, like, we don't precisely time it. Like, whenever we get hit, we're just mashing down, or mashing back to get the tech. So those are the wake-up options that you have available. So then, when an opponent gets up, as you can see, if he gets up here with a quick rise, it can be beneficial to go for that light kick, because it hits... So this is what we call a meaty. A meaty is a move that hits the opponent as they're getting up. Like, the move is already in their ass as they're getting up. So if I do this with the dash into the light kick, it's hitting at a late active frame, so that means it's a meaty. So if they quick rise when you hit them with this attack, it's good to go for the light kick. But if they back recover, and I go for the light kick, well, it doesn't hit them, because it takes them slightly longer to back rise than it does for them to quick tech. So, it becomes better to go for that if they back tech, because that hits them meaty. Whereas if you did it when they quick tech, it's actually hitting them too late. So it's not meaty anymore, and it's actually kind of a risk to do it when they quick tech this attack. So you can put it at, like, say, random, and you can do an attack like this. And rather than do one of those two options, you can just go for something safer, like wait to see which one they do with your eyes, and then, you know, react accordingly. Like, when you see that they're getting up with a quick rise, react to that timing with a regular attack, like a throw, or a light attack, or something like that. So then when you put it at random, you can react to the timing by seeing the difference between the quick rise and the back tech. So for the back one, I'm just doing it a little bit later. So when you get an attack like this, and it knocks them down, and all of their options like this, you're still on top of them, like you're still really close to them, even no matter which option they choose to get up with, quick rise or back tech. This is what's referred to as Oki, O-K-I, Oki. This is a Japanese term. It's short for Okizeme, and it refers to like mix-ups or offense that you can get on an opponent as they're getting up. So a move like this has Oki. So an attack like this, if you hit the opponent with it, this is an attack that has good Oki, because no matter which, you know, wake-up option the opponent chooses to do, you're still really close to them. So even if they back rise, you can still chase them down and still force them to guess, because you're still in throw range. So if you go for this throw, they have to do something about it. They have to do something to throw invincible, or jump, or backdash, or try to tech the throw. So it forces them to, you know, guess. And that's what Oki is. Oki is like a knockdown that you can force your opponent to guess on the offense afterwards. You can also go for a command throw at this range. So this is good Oki, because no matter what, you're still really close to the opponent. To give you an example of bad Oki, this is my character, Falk. So to give you an example of like an attack that has bad Oki, if I land this attack as the end of a combo or something, and I, you know, try to chase the opponent, and the opponent back recovers, they're this far away when he's on the ground, which means that I'm nowhere near throw range, which means I can't really force him to guess here. I'm not in a range to do a mix-up. So this is bad Oki, because I can't follow this up with anything. So even when you have good Oki, like an attack like this, if the opponent, so if I'm close enough to the opponent, and they get up, you know, I knock them down and they get up, but I can still, you know, I'm in throw range, I can still make them guess between that and like an attack or a shimmy. If they were to do, if I go for an attack and they're in a character that has an invincible attack like this, they can do that. You know, so they can blow through Oki by doing a reversal. This is called a DP. A DP means, stands for Dragon Punch. I forget the exact origins of this, but DP just means an invincible attack. My character does have a DP as well. This is an invincible move. So, if I go for offense, like a throw here, or just trying to hit them with an attack here, it's always going to beat it. But I can just block it like this. If I think that they're going to do it, or I just want, if I just wanted to shimmy and walk backwards anyways, I'm going to block this attack. And it's very risky. You know, I can do a lot of damage. So that's the risk that you take when you do those moves. So there's another element to this that is important, and this is called safe jumps. So, an attack like this... So if I were to do, like, an attack, or you know, do something to the opponent, and then knock them down, and then jump at them with a jumping attack, and they have an invincible move like this, they can still anti-air me. Because it is absolutely invincible to jumping attacks. However, in a situation like this, there's something you can do called a safe jump. So this is a safe jump. So if they get up with a neutral get up, like this, if they quick rise, and I jump like this, and I come down, I am hitting them right as I'm coming down, I am hitting them with the attack. So, the instant that they're hittable again, I am hitting them right before I land on the ground from my jump. So this is important because, as you can see, he's forced to block this. If he were to try to do an attack, it wouldn't work. But let's say he goes for an anti-air, like an invincible attack. It is invincible. It's invincible immediately, which means that he doesn't get hit by my attack, but I'm able to land on the ground before his attack comes out. So his attack, his medium Shoryuken, I forget what the exact startup is, something around 5 or 6 frames, I think. But this means that, like, the one frame that I'm here, like, hitting him, right about to land, right there, that I'm hitting him, 1 or 2 frames later, I will be on the ground, and when I'm on the ground, I'll be fine. I'll be able to block again. You know, there's no recovery for a jumping attack, because the jumping attack recovers as soon as you land. It's not like a normal move where you swing and then there's a recovery period. As soon as you land, you recover from this attack, which means that I can swing with this attack, but even if the opponent does something that's invincible on frame 1, I might be able to land and block before their attack hits me at frame 5 or 6. So that's what's happening here. So this is a situation where even if he does something invincible, I'm guaranteed to beat it. So let's have him do a faster reversal. Nope, I'm still able to block. So, if I come down here with this, and he does something invincible, you know, I'm able to block it before it hits me, which means that I can get the big punish, but if he doesn't do something invincible, he's forced to block. So a safe jump is basically a situation where there's no escape. There's no way to avoid blocking this attack or getting hit by it. And because jumping attacks are overheads, here, watch this. So if I just crouch, block, you know, I am blocking, but all jumping attacks count as overheads, which means that I need to stand and block them by holding straight back instead of down back. However, so, you know, all jumping attacks are overheads. However, if you do this instead. So in this situation, if I think he's going to jump in, I start standing to block the jump in, but if he just lands instead, this is what we call a empty jump, when you jump without attacking, and you just land, and then you do an action when you land instead. So if I start stand blocking to, you know, block the overhead of the jump in, he can just land and go low instead, and catch me not crouch blocking. And any character can do this. Literally any character can do this. Which means that when G does that setup, like this, he comes down here, he forces you to block. You can't do an invincible move, because he can just block it if you try to do that. So this is a scenario where you're forced to eat this, but he can just come down with a low instead. He can empty jump instead of going for his overhead, and he can go low instead. You can react to this. It's not like a total guess. This is something you can react to if you're paying attention, like if you're focused on this scenario, but a lot of the times it's done in situations of like high stress, where you're not thinking about, like, where you're seeing a jump in and you're not thinking about, like, the empty low. Now there's one more element of jumping attacks that is relevant to safe jumping, and that's something called trip guarding. So, the long and short of it is, if an opponent comes down with an attack when they jump, they are vulnerable on the ground. So as I have him blocking immediately, a trip guard is, well, trip guard kind of means the opposite of this, but anyways. So the point is, when an opponent is doing a jumping attack or something, they can be hit the moment that they hit the ground. They're not allowed to block on the very first frame after they hit the ground. Which means that you can do, you can, like, walk underneath them or... So yeah, you can hit them the exact moment that they come down from the ground. However, they're less vulnerable if they don't attack when they jump. So if they don't attack during their jump, as you can see, he's just jumping without doing a move in the air, that, like, vulnerable period when he reaches the ground is not there. And finally, for one more piece of terminology, I'll describe what's called an option select. And this is lots of things in the game are option selects. So what an option select is inputting two things at once on your controller, and depending on the situation, you know, the desired outcome will come out. So, you know how I was talking about, like, doing moves into specials that won't reach? So if I do this motion like this, but if I just do the same motion like this, I'm not hitting anything, so only the heavy punch is coming out and not the fireball after it. So, an option select would be, you know, swinging with a move like this. And if it hits, you know, a limb or something that's extended out by the opponent, it will connect and it will do the move. So that's one form of an option select, but lots of option selects exist, you know, like doing the delayed throw tech so that the opponent, so this that we talked about, which would be another form of option select. So I hit multiple throw techs there, in case you wait for a throw, but I do it as late as possible so that if he does the regular attacks, I block. Oops, too early. Like that. Like that. And like that. So that's another form of option select, because I'm both blocking and throw teching at the same time, but depending on the situation, the desired outcome comes out. So if he hits, I'm blocking. If he throws, I'm teching. So here's a situation where option selecting, this is another kind of option select. So say, you know, you're Mika and you land this, or they block this drop kick. So you're +2 in their face. You might go for a command grab, which is 5-frame startup, so that will beat anything they try. Unless they try to escape it or do something invincible. Which means that, you know, the option that they have to go for in a lot of the case would be to backdash. Right? Because they want to escape it if they think that you're going to do this. But you can also just hit them, and if they backdash, you know, they'll get caught. However, this move is not safe to every enemy that you want to do, so sometimes you want to do something like this. So backdashing as a concept also has this property where you can get out of situations you normally wouldn't be able to get out of because you're moving backwards quickly. So if I just walk backwards here, so as soon as I start blocking and I just hold backwards, I still get hit by the low, because when you're walking backwards, you're not blocking lows. So lows are used to beat walking backwards. So I'm not able to get out of this situation, this string. But if I backdash, I can escape it because I'm moving backwards faster. So sometimes backdashes will get you out of, you know, situations where you're just barely, like, grazing, getting hit. Which means that in a situation like this, I might be, like, at this range, go for this move. But it's just barely close enough to reach him, which means that if he backdashes, it doesn't reach. And if I go for my throw that I want to do, obviously because he's backdashing, you know, the throw doesn't hit him. So this is another situation where you can use an option select. So that's an option select right there, that sequence of buttons that you can see on the left side of the screen that I did. So I did the heavy kick, that's the red kick, and then I did light kick medium punch, which is this move. And then, you know, if that comes out, so that's what I'm doing basically. So if he blocks it, I just get the light kick and then the yellow punch, which is the medium punch, so that's the target combo. But then I'm really quickly, basically at the same time, I'm inputting this, the motion for EX Peach. So basically what happens is if this light kick doesn't connect, and if it doesn't connect, then the medium punch doesn't go into this attack. So if the light kick whiffs like this, well, it doesn't do this whole animation of going into this attack, which means that I recover fast enough for this move to come out. So and it reaches really far, which means that it chases down his backdash. So that's an option select that I do, which means that if he chooses to just block instead, I won't get the EX Peach because Mika will be too busy hitting him with her other moves. See? So I did the same move. Oops. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. So, you know, depending on what the opponent does, if they choose to do that thing, my option select will mean the desired results will come out every time.